Morning, you're listening to 90.9 FM WIRQ, Irondequoit's home for new music and great classics. I'm back. Cuse in the morning. It's been a couple weeks. I've been out, very sick, but I'm back. Not 100%, but I'm still there. April 6th, it is 9:46 a.m. right now, live, and for those watching the podcast, I don't know what time it is for you, but you'll be watching this, whatever. But it's been a long 2 weeks I've been out, but it's good to be back, and in a perfect way to come back on this Monday morning. And baseball season begun last night. The Final Four is over, and my bracket was looking peachy keen, pretty good. I got 3 out of the 4 teams in my Final Four correct. I got the only team I was missing was Nova. Michigan State ended up getting in, but my winner is still in. They're in the championship game. I'll get to that in a second. My Final Four, I got 3 out of the 4 teams correct. I got Duke, Kentucky, and Wisconsin correct. That's pretty good for my bracket. I was following the games while I was out for a little bit, but they were pretty interesting. Iowa State in the beginning messed up my bracket as well as Baylor. So besides that, it looked pretty good for filling it out in 5 minutes. My bracket was on point, and I beat most of my friends, which is very impressive because, funny enough, they were working on it for a very long time, and it took me 5 minutes, and I beat them, and I won a couple bets. So the championship game, for those who didn't watch the Final Four this weekend, shame on you. We had Kentucky versus Wisconsin, and we had Michigan State versus Duke. Duke dominated Michigan State, which was expected. My pick, Duke, is still in. Duke is in the championship game, which is tonight, for those who are listening right now, and for those who are watching whenever. Monday tonight, the championship game is happening, and also, what made me mad and it ruined my bracket even more, my championship game was Kentucky versus Duke. Kentucky lost the last second to Wisconsin in the upset. I watched that game, and I was very, very disappointed. But they lost. Kind of blew it in the last minute. And just a bunch of free throws and fouls, and it was getting out of reach. And Wisconsin plays Duke tonight, and the winner is the NCAA 2015 March Madness champion. So, my pick is still in. Obviously, I'm rooting for Duke, and I think I should win something. I don't know. A little pat in the back, because if Duke wins tonight, I picked it. I'd win. Many teams are expecting Duke to beat Wisconsin, but this should be a really, really good game. Duke beat Wisconsin earlier this season, so it should be a redemption shot for Wisconsin. But again, I don't really see how the factor history is due to repeat itself, and that Duke's gonna win. I mean, come on. So I'll be very, very happy if my pick wins, and it's just one more game. It's 40 more minutes. So, again, baseball season began last night, and the game of the night was the Chicago Cubs. They hosted the St. Louis Cardinals, and what a game it was. And I do not know the score, and I'm trying to pull it up right now, but my ESPN app's being stupid. Yes, Cardinals won 3-0 in a shutout. I heard say it was a St. Louis dominated game, but I didn't watch it. John Lester was starting for Chicago, I know that. And they spent a lot of money in the offseason to get him. And sadly, Chicago couldn't deliver. They have 161 games left. Baseball season's underway. Mets and Yankees play today and start their season today. Mets play the Nationals, and I do not know who the Yankees do play. I will get to that to you later today. But also, the draft is this week. I'm not sure which day, but I know it is this week. And it is looking to be a very, very good NFL draft. I'll give you a little bit of my predictions. At least for the quarterback standpoint, I'll give you 2. Marcus Mariota out of Oregon and Jameis Winston out of Florida State. Jameis Winston is going to Tampa Bay, I believe, and being the new starter for Tampa Bay, but I do not believe he will go far because it's the Tampa Bay roster, and the Buccaneers haven't done well in over 10 years. But a different story for Marcus Mariota. I believe he will go to New York, play for the Jets, and be their starter there, or at least bench, be a second string to Geno Smith for a year or something like that. Get a start. I think he's going to take the Jets somewhere far they haven't been since the Rex Ryan era in the beginning, back in 2011 back in 2011 actually, when they made the AFC Championship game, or one of those years. But anyways, I believe Mariota is going to the Jets. If he doesn't get drafted by the Jets, I have no idea who's going to draft him, because there hasn't been a team needing a quarterback more than the Jets, and then unless he gets drafted in the way back, which I hardly expect at all. But my number one pick is Jameis Winston. He will be going to Tampa Bay, in my opinion. I don't see why Jacksonville would pick up a quarterback. They're not in need for one at the moment. They're not looking for one, which, I mean, could be debatable. But also, and speaking of the NFL, there's been a lot of talk, and Deflategate was brought up again because the Atlanta Falcons, if you haven't heard already, were charged a draft pick and a huge fine for quote-unquote faking crowd noise. Now, what that means is that everyone knows the crowd noise in Seattle has caused many teams to do false starts and caused many offensive penalties on the other team's side because of the crowd noise, because they can't hear, because the players cannot hear the quarterback. So what the Atlanta Falcons decided to do it's been 6 years they've been doing it, and they just got caught. They had a crowd noise recorded, and they played it on their speaker. And what they did there is they made their crowd louder by using speakers, and which is illegal and not a good thing. And they're trying to cause more penalties. They're trying to cause false start penalties, which is, again, illegal. So they were charged a draft pick and also a huge fine. Then the Deflategate was brought up because the New England Patriots were never penalized for being caught with the deflated footballs and not being charged or anything, and which is very, very interesting, and why it's being brought up again. And I 100% agree with what people are saying, because I believe if the Falcons are going to be charged for something, they've been going on for 6 years, and it's not even, think about it, it's not as bad because it wasn't successful. Not that I've heard that the Atlanta Falcons leading the NFL and causing false starts, which hasn't. It's been Seattle because of actual crowd noise, but seeing them get penalized immediately, but not the Patriots, it's very, very confusing and very concerning to many fans, including me. And it should be on your watch at least. Also, so I don't really talk about NBA, but I thought this was very important. From the Indiana Pacers, for all those Pacers fans out there, Paul George returned from a very, very long injury, and Pacers got the win, and they're back in it. Well, they were in it the entire season, and they're looking like a great team. But playoffs start in 2 weeks, I believe, for the NBA. I was watching the Rockets and the Thunder yesterday on Easter, and it proves to me another reason why I don't watch NBA. The game was I don't know, it was very boring. I get more excited when I watch college games, even if it's in the regular season, because I feel like they mean more than NBA games, which they do, because you get, 30, 35 games in a college season when you have a lot more in the NBA season, and then there's playoffs, either in or not, but there's a tournament, you lose, you're out, there's not a series. So that's just the way it's set up. But I feel like college basketball is more exciting, which it is. It is. And it's just, especially when you see teams lose like Kentucky, they were heartbroken. I mean, they were 38-0, and they were beaten in the game before the championship game. Not even the championship game. They didn't even make it. And, I mean, it's disappointing, but it's also fun to watch, you know? I mean, as much as part of me wants to root for Wisconsin, I picked Duke, and I hope they win. That'd be great to have a head held high and have my pick win. But, I mean, the game is tonight. It's at like 9 o'clock. I'll be up late watching it. But another way to kick off more sports, another playoff scenario that's going on right now is hockey. New York Rangers have won the Metro Division. They clinched it last week, I believe, and they are now officially in. They clinched the playoffs, and they're the pick. They are the number one favorite to win the Stanley Cup. And for those who remember, last season they made the Stanley Cup, and they lost to the Kings. They got destroyed. They lost a series 4-1. So as a Rangers fan, I'm cringing my teeth saying that. But people were saying it's 1994 all over again when last time they won a championship, and they were the favorite to win. So I believe New York is a very hard team to stop. Really, the only team that's going to stop them, in my opinion, is a chance would be the Capitals, Washington Capitals, or even the Islanders. Even though they're a little down in the ranks, but they've had trouble with them in the season. So this should be very interesting. I'm going to be touching on many different sports today just because it's been 2 weeks. I'll read you off some scores like I usually do. Then it was the Rockets beating the Thunder 115-112. I watched that game again. It was more Rocket dominated, and that's again another reason why I really don't. Maybe it was just that game, but NBA to me is not that exciting as it used to be, and I don't know. I have no clue. Pacers beat the Heat 112-89 when Paul George returning. Cavs beat the Bulls 99-94. And the Spurs beat the Warriors 107-92. So those are the really big NBA playoff games that happened yesterday. There were other games. But NHL moving on. Capitals beat the Red Wings 2-1 to continue to solidify their playoff spot. Flyers beat the Penguins 4-1, which was an upset. And the Blues beat the Blackhawks 2-1. Now, looking on to playoffs, I believe, begin with hockey at the same time as basketball. So, once NBA basketball playoffs begin, I will pay more attention, and I will get more information about it and more analyze the games, because it's been a while since I watched an NBA playoff game, and I want to broaden my horizon in different sports. So, moving on to the big games that are today. It is a big day in sports. It was only one game last night. It was the Cardinals and the Cubs that started their season yesterday. Today was when everybody else starts. I know the Mets play the Nationals. And speaking of the New York Mets, and Zach Wheeler, one of their starting pitchers, is out having Tommy John surgery. But Matt Harvey is back. And for those who remember Matt Harvey, he started in the All-Star game back in 2013 and dominated. He had a dominant season, but then he had to leave because of Tommy John surgery. Missed all last season, and now he's back, and he hasn't missed a step. In my opinion, the New York Mets are a huge playoff contender this year, as long as they stay healthy, which many people have been stressing about the last 10 years. As long as the Mets stay healthy, they can make a playoff run, and I believe this season they have more of a chance than anything because of their pitching and because of their bats. For those who haven't watched spring training, I mean, that's your loss. You get a little dose of, hopefully it's going to get warmer soon, which is still cold and it's April. But moving on from that, the New York Mets batting power. Michael Goodire, they picked up in the offseason. Still with Curtis Granderson and David Wright stepping up again. Those are going to be the big people with the big bats, and the reason why they're going to be dominant on the offensive side more and the defensive side usually. They re-signed Juan Lagares, who's a great outfielder. Again, the New York Mets are looking to be a good team this year, and it's been a long time since anyone said that. And I do believe the New York Mets are on a good playoff run, and as long as they can play fundamental baseball this season, it starts today. Let's see how they look, and it starts today. And again, it's just one game out of 162. Many people are predicting the Mets to go 60 or 70 games. I believe they can go 70 or above. As long as they stay healthy and they stay dominant, they have a chance to win the NL East. It'll be a battle between them and the Nationals for sure. But again, that's baseball. Moving on to the NCAA basketball tournament. Tonight, I think tip-off is a weird time. It's at 9:18, I believe. But Wisconsin plays Duke. Here is my analysis for that. It'll be very lopsided in the beginning, but I do believe at the end of the first half, I believe Duke will be dominating in that game in the first half at least. It'll be, in my prediction, it'll be a 10+ lead, and the reason I say that is because Duke has played Wisconsin before, and they know who they're playing against. It's not like they're playing a completely random team they haven't played. It'd be different if they played Kentucky, because that'd be a completely different factor. That's a team that would be undefeated going into the championship game, and that's a lot of pressure to defeat an undefeated team. But this is Wisconsin, who just came off of an upset, and now Duke's the favorite to win. The line is it's like 6.5 for Duke, which is huge. But if Duke wants to, if Wisconsin wants to win this game, which obviously they do, they need to do is play methodical basketball and attack. If they don't have the lead in the first half, I don't see them coming back. And the reason I say that is because Duke is a dominating team on the court. And what they've done in the regular season, what they've done in the tournament, is they've dominated the court in the first half. And that's led them to victories. That if they have a 5 or higher point margin in the lead in the second half, that's a lot. And it's very different in the NBA because the timing is different. There's no quarters. There's a first half and there's a second half. That's it. There's 40 minutes in NCAA, and there's more in the NBA. But what is interesting, if Wisconsin can at least battle them out to the half, have it a tie, or at least have the lead, which would be very good for them. This should be an interesting game. If not, if Duke has this game by the first half, nothing's gonna change. It'll be a Duke dominated basketball game, and that's really all you can say. As long as Wisconsin start right from the tip off is immediately dominant, as long as they can hold it off, I believe then Wisconsin can maybe pull it off. But again, if Duke is dominant as soon as the ball is tipped off, that's what it matters right now. Whoever has control in the first half is going to win this game, in my opinion, because of the matchup. If this was a Duke and Kentucky game, it'd be completely different because it's going to go either way. But with these two teams, they've played each other in the regular season, and Duke dominated them. What's going to happen is if Duke has the advantage in the half, then it's going to be a Duke second half. And that's really all you can say, and that's really all you can really analyze in this. But you're listening to Cuse in the Morning on 90.9 FM WIRQ. I am back after a 2-week long, and not a vacation. It was pretty brutal. But I'm gonna take a break. We'll play some Avenged Sevenfold for you, rocking the sweatshirt as always with the shirts. But I'll take a break. I will be right back. Welcome back. You're listening to 90.9 FM WIRQ, Irondequoit's home for new music and great classics. Part 2 of Cuse in the Morning. For those just tuning in, yes, it's been a while since you've heard my voice. I've been gone for last week was break, so I was off. But the week before that, I was out because of a sickness, and I'm still recovering. But hey, I'm here. So Monday morning, April 6th. It's April, and it's still cold, and I'm still mad about that. But it's supposed to be in like the high 50s, early low 60s. This week. I'm not a meteorologist, but that's what my phone tells me. So, it's supposed to rain all week, but it's better than snow, like we had yesterday. But for those who celebrate Easter, hope you all had a happy Easter. But I do have the games scheduled. You can't see it, but I do have it on the computer up here. And I have who's playing today. I'm not going to list all of them. But ESPN is covering 4 games. I thought I'd let you guys know. And there's the games for today. Today at 1 o'clock, if you're not doing anything, and you want to watch some baseball, tune to ESPN. The Yankees are hosting the Blue Jays at 1 o'clock, and then the next game, which I will be watching because it's opening day. You can't stop watching. You cannot watch opening day. It's like not watching the first game of kickoff in football. You have to watch it. Or it's like not watching the Super Bowl. Come on, you have to watch it. The Mets are in Washington D.C. as they play the Nationals at 4 o'clock on ESPN, and then if you just want to tune in to ESPN all day and watch some basketball until the college game tonight, I commend it. I want you to do it. 7 o'clock, the Indians are in Houston to play the Astros, and then the game after that. If you're still awake at 10 o'clock watching some baseball, good for you. I commend that. But I'll be mixing with some time with the college game. The San Francisco Giants are in Arizona to play the D-backs. Those are the 4 games today on ESPN. I don't know who your local provider is, who you watch, or whatever. Oh well, to that's you. You do you. But anyways, those are the 4 primetime games that ESPN is airing. I will be on ESPN at 4 o'clock watching some Mets baseball. Hopefully, they started Bartolo Colon, which is very interesting. They're not starting Harvey. And I was reading about that, and that was a very big issue. A lot of people were complaining why Harvey isn't starting, which I don't know. But as long as New York gets the win on opening day, I'll be very happy. But moving on to that, we're going to do a little recap here like we always do. College game tonight, the NCAA 2015 Bracket Championship game. NCAA Tournament Championship game is what it really is. It'll be Duke battling Wisconsin. My pick is Duke for those who remember. And if Duke wins, I will, next episode, I will be being, haha, I told you so. But if they lose, oh well. I mean, my bracket looks pretty good, and it's been a lot of circles and a lot of check marks. But it's honestly, I'm not gonna lie, it's my first bracket. I did it in 5 minutes, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, you picked the number 1 teams." I mean, you didn't pick any upsets. I mean, I picked upsets, but the upsets didn't upset. They upsetted me. But anyways. Wisconsin, who upset Kentucky 2 days ago, on Saturday night, battles Duke tonight, and my pick is Duke, and the favorite is Duke. The line is crazy. It's at like 6.5 for Duke, I believe, last time I checked. So everyone's picking Duke. But again, Wisconsin can do another upset and become the champion, which is, I don't know. I'll be kind of cringing my teeth because my pick didn't win the championship in my first bracket. But oh well. But also tonight, like I just said, baseball opening day is officially today. It was officially yesterday when the Cubs played the Cardinals, but I mean, whatever. Everyone plays today, and then tomorrow it keeps going, and then baseball season's underway. NHL playoffs are in a week and a half. NBA playoffs are in 2 weeks. Stay tuned for that. A lot of sports coming your way. The NFL draft is happening this week. A lot. Even though it's April, everything's coming together. Everything's happening in sports right now. April is a big month, and then it goes to May becomes another baseball-infested month is when it dies down a little bit. But the beginning of April is very, very overwhelming. With the end of the NCAA tournament, beginning of baseball, the end of the season of hockey in professional basketball, NBA, and the next few episodes I'll be analyzing the playoffs and of NBA and NHL, and then I'll just give you recaps of MLB games. Until then, run a little early on time, but hey, I'm thinking I'm gonna call a little episode. It's been good. You're listening to 90.9 FM WIRQ for Cuse in the morning. I will be back next week, I promise. If I'm sick, I'll still. I mean, it depends, but I don't think I will be. But until next week, it's gonna be back, and I will hear from you next time. See you later.